Hey everybody, it's Tara here from Staying Salty, and I'm here to wrap up our week talking about living with CF and going out and having fun growing up as we all kind of come of age of drinking, partying, and kind of moving out on our own to live away at school or just out on our own for the first time.
I got cystic fibrosis. See, I've got cystic fibrosis.
So, to start things off, one thing that's a bit different here in Canada than down in the States is that our drinking age is 19 instead of 21. So, most people, once they go away to school, not within first year, but definitely by second year, everybody's turning 19. So, really, the big sort of timeline of people getting into going out and drinking and whatnot kind of falls in I would say maybe the grade 12 to first and second year of school kind of time frame. Luckily or unluckily for myself, depending on how you want to look at it, that's basically the time frame where I was really sick and really out of it, just as a person dealing with illness. So I didn't have a lot of exposure, I guess, to anything underage for the most part. There were kids in high school that I was still friends with, and yet you knew that on the weekend they were out drinking and maybe getting into some drugs or whatever. I was friends with them at school, and I just chose, not to hang out with them outside of school when I was healthy enough to do so. And if I was hanging out with them, I wasn't personally getting involved in any of their decisions, mainly because of, how my parents raised me, I guess you can say. Just in that, I knew I'd be in a lot of trouble if I ever came home drunk underage, and it didn't really appeal to me personally. Even now, I'll be 25 this year, and I'm still not a big drinker. I mean, I'll have a few drinks if I'm out at a party or if we're celebrating something. But I'm not even really one to sit and, have a beer while I'm watching the hockey game or have a glass of wine with dinner. I've just never been a big drinker myself, which I kind of found out, when I went away to school the second time. So, like I said, grade 12, I was sick and basically in hospital. My prom, I was put in hospital in Toronto, so 4 hours away from home the day after prom. I think a friend had brought coolers with her. I didn't even drink one because I was so sick. Even my fiance was my date to prom, and he is 3 years older, so 17, 18, 19. He would have been 19, maybe 20. So had I wanted to drink, I mean, the opportunity was there for me to get alcohol. Not that he would do that. In case my parents or anyone else is watching, no. But yeah, I mean, like, the opportunity definitely existed, but I don't know, I never felt tempted by it. It seemed like a waste of my money, and I mean, everybody at school that kind of, not bragged about it, but I guess kind of talked about it, it was just always like, oh, and I'm so hungover and I feel awful, or it was, the girls at the dance that got kicked out and then couldn't play, at the next sports game because, they were caught drunk on school property. I went away to school the first time. Again, I only lasted about a month. I was extremely sick looking back. So, I mean, I don't even think that I had a drink the entire month I was there, if I recall correctly. Not even homecoming week, I don't think. So the second time I went back to school, which would have been after transplant, was when I was already 19. So I went back to school come second semester, so January, and I had turned 19 in July. So I'd been 19 for a while. I had gone out, ordered my first legal drink, and kind of, was the oldest in my residence room. Carrie, lay down, please. Everyone I was living with would have been turning 19 that year, so I was a year ahead. So as they all turned 19, I mean, we went out for everyone's birthday, and I mean, some nights I'd have two drinks, and other nights I'd have a few shots and a few drinks, depending on which bar we were going out to, who I was going out with. But have never, ever drank to the point of being like blackout drunk or getting sick from drinking. Um, and I think part of that is, sorry, my allergies are bad. Um, Eyes are itchy and I'm coughing and I sound gross. But I think part of that was because I got so sick so quick for no apparent reason. I didn't really see the like the choice, or not the choice, the I guess rationale behind drinking to a point of feeling so crappy. Like, not to say I did not have my fair share of hangovers. McDonald's runs in the morning saved everyone, I think. But just that, I didn't want to get to a point where I was blackout. I wasn't drinking to kind of, deal with any underlying emotional symptoms or anything that might have caused me to want to just, forget about life for a while and drink a little much. Um, so that was first year for me. And then first semester, which was really my second semester of first year, same thing. I mean, the only time that I probably drank on a more like heavier basis in comparison to everybody else was when when I first found out that I went into rejection. I had to drop out of Guelph, and I went back to Guelph for some of the social events that were happening at the beginning of second semester. So there was Frost Week, which is basically homecoming week, but it's in the winter. It's just an excuse to go out and drink and have fun. So I guess I went out of my way to go back to Guelph, to go out with my friends and have those social events that um, I otherwise wouldn't have had in Sarnia, because Sarnia is a small town and there's not a lot of people my age here. Um, but I mean, even then, I still never drank a lot. I personally never got into drugs. I guess the grade 2 or 3 lectures you get, just say no to drugs, kid, stuck with me. No, with all the medications I've been on, and because I was put on my anti-rejection and transplant meds at 18, um, I didn't want to do anything that would interfere with those medications. I didn't want to go into rejection. I didn't want to cause an infection. Um, so I played it safe in that sense. Um, and I think a big part of being able to, I guess, play it safe in that is the group of people I surrounded myself with. I mean, not to say that, my friends are goody two shoes or anything like that. But I just kind of have stuck with, people who, know what they're doing in life. And I tend to be a bit more mature than some people my age, just with all the crap that we go through with CF lives. Um, so, I mean, yeah, like we'll have people over for a bonfire on the weekend and everybody kind of hangs out and has a few drinks. I'm always one to make sure like everybody has a safe ride home. I guess that's the motherly instincts in me, which I can't get rid of no matter what I do. But I'm also, I guess, not afraid to have like a good time with it. I think that's basically no different than really any, drug and alcohol lecture. I'm pretty boring on this topic, but I think, I guess my best advice for having an illness, specifically CF, and if you're getting into the drinking or any recreational drug use or whatever you're doing, would be just to make sure that you're not setting yourself up for any complicated medical issues based on the meds you're currently taking. Try not to skip any doses of medications. Like if I was going out for the night, like say to the bar, which I love going to the bar because I love dancing. I love going to the club. I could have no alcohol in me and I would dance all night. Like it doesn't make a difference. So I would make sure that I took my anti-rejection meds before we left to go out for the bar. So that by the time I got home and you're washing your face off and making some food or whatever, I didn't have to worry about, oh, like what meds did I already take and what do I still have to do? What treatments do I have to do? Again, luckily, I stopped doing my CF treatments after transplant, so those were never an issue. I never had to factor in the timeline of that. Um, but yeah, just making sure you don't skip anything and you don't set yourself up to get sick. And you allow yourself to have that time to go out and kind of let loose and enjoy yourself, and just be in the moment in a social get together with friends. But I guess do all of this preparation ahead of time, for knowing you're coming home and you still have CF. I mean, bring a puffer with you to the bar if you need it. I have done that a few times so that I was able to dance. And really just, I mean, know your limits with what you're doing and how much you're drinking and how much you've eaten in a day, because nobody likes getting sick, whether it's from drinking or whether it's from the stomach flu. It probably doesn't feel any different no matter which it's from. So I mean, I just don't want to put myself in that situation of feeling absolutely awful. Kind of wrap up my rant for today. Is just, making good choices for yourself as an individual with or without CF, making good choices preparing for an evening or a day out, whatever you're doing, knowing you have CF. Get those pills ready, get your meds set up, try and squeeze in your treatment before you go out. And just kind of make good friends. I mean, they may not come across as the cool kids, or you may not feel like you're part of the in crowd, which I get is a really hard thing to deal with. And especially if it's, high school and first year university, like you want to make all the friends you can make. You want to have as much fun as you possibly can. But really in the long term and when you look back, it's, it's not going to necessarily be the friend that goes out and parties every night. That's going to be the one that's, sitting with you in a hospital bed when you're in for 2 weeks with pneumonia. It might be, by all means, if you know them beyond just their drinking habits, but just, I don't know, don't let people that maybe don't make the same kind of decisions or have the same rationale as you kind of judge your decision making. But feel free to reach out and message me here on the YouTube video, on our Instagram page, or my email is also linked below if you want to remain kind of somewhat anonymous or private conversation. But that's pretty much all I have for you guys tonight. So definitely make sure that you check out everybody's videos from this week as well as mine. Share your thoughts and comments with us, and we'll be back next week talking about living in the same area as others with CF and kind of what precautions or if we do anything to kind of keep ourselves safe and healthy in that situation. So I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys next week. Stay salty.